Hello, 5th grade. It's Mrs. Taranjo with the Citizenship Academy. We are on Domain 4, Lesson 10, A Realistic Don Quixote. Our objectives are for today to provide text evidence about Don Quixote and Sancho's various character traits and to draft 2 body paragraphs for our persuasive essays. Some key vocabulary to keep in mind is ordinary, normal, or usual, bellows, a mechanical device that blows out air when its sides are pressed together, scorched, burned, worth, importance of value, wisdom, knowledge gained from having many experiences in life, swineherd is someone who takes care of pigs, envy is to be jealous of, justice is fairness, unkempt is messy, and almighty is God. Now we're going to go ahead and read aloud the text. Chapter 13, The Adventure of the Wooden Horse. Everyone at the palace was having a grand time playing tricks on the knight and the squire. The Duke and Duchess played many themselves, and they also encouraged their servants to come up with ideas of their own. One fine afternoon, while Duke, Duchess, and guests were in the garden, 12 young ladies came in 2 lines. Following them was an older lady. All 13 had their faces covered by thick black veils. The older lady said they were looking for Don Quixote de la Mancha and Sancho Panza. Her voice was a little deep, but no one paid much attention to that. She said she had heard of the knight's courage and deeds. Both Sancho and Don Quixote stood up and identified themselves. She said she was Countess Trifaldi, governess of Princess Antonomasia from the kingdom of Candaya. The very young princess fell in love with Don Clavijo, and on her own agreed to be his wife. But Don Clavijo was only a knight, and Princess Antonomasia was the heir to the throne. Then one day, giant Malambruno, a wizard, came riding a wooden horse and turned Antonomasia into a bronze monkey and Clavijo into a crocodile of an unknown metal. The giant left a note saying, "They shall not return to their natural shapes until the brave knight from La Mancha himself fights me." Countess Trifaldi explained that she and the ladies who served in the palace had been punished too. They all grew beards overnight. They lifted their veils and showed. Don Quixote was moved. He could not see that these were not women, but men dressed in women's clothing. He promised to save them all. Countess Trifaldi said that Malambruno would send a flying wooden horse to take the knight to fight with him. It was a horse made for 2, a horse for knight and squire. The horse was named Clavileño. His reins were wooden pegs. "He's very swift, your grace," she said. Sancho was unhappy about this trip. He wanted to stay with the Duchess when his master went to fight, but Don Quixote said he must go or the spell wouldn't be broken. Clavileño came on the shoulders of 4 big, monstrous-looking men. One of the monsters said that both riders should be blindfolded and should remain blindfolded until the horse neighed. Don Quixote mounted willingly. Sancho less willingly. The master squeezed the wooden peg, and the veiled woman started shouting their good wishes. "God be with you! Look at that! Fast as an arrow! Sancho, hold tight, don't fall." "Master," Sancho asked, "how can we be flying so high if we can still hear their voices?" This is no ordinary adventure," Don Quixote answered. "Don't pay attention to that. Don't be afraid, Sancho." "Master, I feel so much air it feels like bellows." Sancho was right. The pranksters were blowing air from bellows to make the riders believe they were flying. But Don Quixote said they were arriving at the 2nd region of space, where hail and snow came from. After this, in the 3rd region, there's fire, he predicted. After having fun for a while, the people decided to end the adventure. They set fire to Clavileño's tail. The horse was full of firecrackers. It flew into hundreds of pieces. Don Quixote and Sancho were thrown to the ground, half scorched. Knight and squire got up in a pitiful shape. They were astonished to see themselves in the same garden they had left. So many people were lying on the ground, too. They were even more astonished when they saw the sign hanging from a lance. The renowned Don Quixote de la Mancha ended the adventure of Countess Trifaldi on the first try. Malambruno is satisfied. The beards of the young women are gone. Don Clavijo and Doña Antonomasia have returned to their previous shapes. The Duke and Duchess woke up as surprised as the others. The Duke read the sign too, and with open arms went to embrace Don Quixote, the best knight of all times. Sancho was asked about the trip. "Oh, I saw many stars. Some look like little bears," he said. Duke and Duchess would have something to laugh about for a long time, and Sancho something to remember and talk about all his life. Now we're on Chapter 14, Don Quixote advises Sancho. It was time for Sancho to go to the island, and the Duke asked him to get ready. I don't have to get any special clothing, Sancho said. In any fashion, I'm the same old Sancho Panza. True, said the Duke. Still, one should dress according to what he does. A soldier doesn't dress like a priest, and a lawyer doesn't dress like a soldier. The decision was that the part of Sancho's wardrobe would be like that of a lawyer or a judge, in part like a military uniform. But Sancho said there and then that he would not part with his own poor clothes. He would take them with him. Don Quixote asked for permission to be alone with Sancho. He wanted to talk to the new governor in private. Most of all, he wanted to give him advice for his new life. These are some of the words of advice he gave. Sancho, my son, I thank heaven for your happiness, which you have found even before I found my reward. If you look at it carefully, it was just luck. I am telling you this because I don't want you to think it's your worth alone. Sancho was paying strict attention. Don Quixote continued. First of all, my son, you should fear God. Fear of God is wisdom, and with wisdom you cannot make mistakes. Second, you should put your eyes upon yourself. That is, you should know yourself, which is the most difficult knowledge of all. If you know yourself, you don't put on airs. If you do put them on, it will only come out that you were swineherd before. Be proud of what you are. You should never be ashamed of your family of farmers and laborers. No one will make fun of you if you're proud of yourself and your relatives. Look, Sancho, you should always be good and not envy anyone who has more than you. Material things are acquired, and virtue is more valuable than material things. If a relative of yours comes to the island while you're governor, treat him or her very well. If you bring your wife with you, teach her because she's not educated. Help her to be polite. Manners are important for people in public life. A poor person's tears should make you feel pity, and if a rich person complaining about the poor is right, you should do justice. Always try to discover the truth through the promises and gifts of a rich person, as well as through the sobs of a poor one. When you must apply the law, do not impose all the weight of it on the convict. It is better to be compassionate than too stern. If you must pass sentence on a matter in which an enemy of yours is involved, forget you are not friends. Look only at the truth of the matter. Above all, Sancho, be devout and merciful. God likes mercy. If you follow these rules, you shall live a long life and become famous throughout the world. That's all I'm telling you about spiritual matters. Now let me give you advice about manners. The first thing you must remember is to be clean and clip your fingernails. Don't be sloppy. People will think you're disorganized if they see you unkempt. Don't eat garlic and onion, especially when you have to meet people. The smell will tell you you're not well bred. Don't overeat. Health is tied to the stomach. Don't drink too much either. It's not very wise. Don't take too big a bite. Don't belch in front of others. Don't oversleep. Get up early and enjoy the day. Remember that hard work breeds good luck and laziness its opposite. And one more thing. Don't ever discuss family backgrounds or compare one with another. No one is better than anyone else. You only stand to make enemies when you make comparisons. This is all for now, Sancho. Later on, when there's need, I'll give you more advice. Sancho spoke at long last. Master, all the things you said are good, I guess, but what good will they do me? I won't remember half of them. Give them to me written down. You know I don't know how to read, but I can give them to someone like the priest to read to me. Heaven help us! You can't read! Don Quixote exclaimed. This is wrong. A governor should know how to read and write. I'm serious, Sancho. I want you to learn. Well, master, I know how to sign my name, Sancho said. Later. May the Almighty guide you to your governorship, Sancho, his master said. Let's say no more. If you are a bad governor, it will be your fault, but the shame will be mine. Sancho worried about those final words. Master, if your grace thinks I'm not qualified, I'm resigning right here and now. If the devil is going to take me from being governor, I prefer to go to heaven being my own self, Sancho Panza. That's enough, Sancho, Don Quixote said. You make me very proud. You are capable of being a good governor, not of one, but of many islands. Our word work for today is worth. I'm telling you this because I don't want you to think it's your worth alone. So worth is meaning of importance or value, and that is a noun. So in the previous lessons, you already started to plan your body paragraphs. And remember, the body paragraphs are the meat of a essay. That's where we get into more specific details and text evidence to prove our opinions. So remember, when we're trying to persuade someone of something, we're trying to get them to agree with our statement. And the best way to do that is to provide a lot of text evidence and give an explanation clearly of why that should be your opinion. Now, remember, it doesn't always necessarily mean you're going to convince someone of your opinion, but it just means that you can give your reasoning behind it. And all your text evidence, remember, has to support your opinion. Otherwise, it won't make sense and it won't have a strong impact. So you used a graphic organizer before, and it asked you to restate the opinion for your introductory paragraph. You had reasons that support the opinion. In each reason, you have to give 2 pieces of text evidence, and you should explain how those text evidence. So this goes back to race. Restate the question, answer the question, cite your resources, and explain. So remember, you are going to restate what the question's asking, then you're going to answer the question. Then you're going to go into the text and find that text evidence that's going to support that reasoning. So you're not just picking up text evidence of what's nice in the story. You're picking up text evidence that supports the answer that you chose. Then finally, you're going to explain that. Why did you choose that evidence? How is that helpful to support your opinion? So you should state the reason first in the first sentence of a body paragraph. Then the next sentence, the first sentence should be your restate and your answer. Then the next 2 sentences should be your text evidence, and then after that is your explanation for using those. So be sure to remember and use that race that we've learned about. That'll help you with writing your body paragraphs. And this is our rubric that we are using to assess your writing, so make sure that you refer to this. Right now we're focusing on the body, so if you want a strong grade for this, you're looking for all reasons in the body paragraph support the opinion. You're not just choosing whatever you want in your essay. You're choosing supporting evidence from the text, and that goes along with your opinion. Now, if you noticed, if it's a lower end, it means you're not giving us reasons that support your opinion. So if you're saying, I like dogs, you're not saying, my sister has soccer practice later. It doesn't have that same support and opinion. So make sure your evidence goes along with what your opinion is. So now your assessment, you're going to draft 2 body paragraphs. Remember, you're writing 2 paragraphs. So those go along with the reasons that you gave in your introductory draft. And you've already written that. So remember, your prompt is, do Don Quixote's good intentions justify his actions? That is what you were trying to find evidence for. You've already given us your reasons. Now you need text evidence to support it and an explanation for that. And I will see everyone in our next lesson.